Well, good morning. This morning I'm talking with Ashley Lessa, who is from the Unitarian Universalist Society in Fairhaven, Mass. It is a magnificent structure with a pretty active congregation. I'm Andy Pollock. I'm the president of the LGBT Network, and we're talking about journeys of faith during the month of June, and we will be discussing the Unitarian uh, Society from Fairhaven. So, Ashley, welcome. It's so nice to see you. Uh, tell me a little bit about, introduce yourself. Tell me, you are the Congregational Life Coordinator for the Unitarian Universalist Church in Fairhaven.
Yes, so yeah, you said my name is Ashley. I am the Congregational Life Coordinator at the UU Society of Fairhaven. What that title means is I both handle the administration side of things and the membership side. And when we say membership, we mean membership for both new visitors and as well as for our own members. And that has to deal with both diversity and inclusion, as well as accessibility, and other things of that sort.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we've been talking to folks about LGBT inclusion and welcoming and affirming congregations, and the Unitarian have a long history. So can you tell a little bit about how the Unitarian Society in Fairhaven came to an open and affirming position?
Absolutely. So I had to go and do a little research myself in anticipation of this call. I've been with them since 2017. And so, I was aware of some parts of it, but I looked up the Unitarian Universalist Association's history, which is the kind of umbrella of all of the different congregations. And they were on the record saying that they were welcoming to the LGBTQ community since 1970. And in 1989, they created a program called the Welcoming Congregations Program when they were hearing that maybe their inclusion wasn't as broad as they had hoped it was within the congregations. Our congregation officially became certified as welcoming in 2005, but we have as far as I know, and I'm aware of people who've been here that are LGBT since far before that. Sorry, my dog. So the history goes back further than that. There were members of the church protesting for marriage equality. We have a rich history in that. And then last year, they revamped the Welcoming Congregations program. And what that means is we basically recertified ourselves, and now it's a yearly commitment to do that. So as of last year, we were recertified as a welcoming congregation, and we are basically have guidelines from the UUA about you have to at least do these minimum things to remain a welcoming congregation, a designated welcoming congregation, and we try very hard to go above and beyond that.
That's great. Now, a few things. One is people might not know what Unitarians are, but you have an amazing building, that's for sure, in Fairhaven. Probably the most remarkable structure in town or in the whole area. And if people haven't seen it, they're really missing something, aren't they?
Yeah, I recommend they walk around and take a look. We're closed right now, but as long as you're socially distant and being safe, you can walk around our property.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about the building first. Henry Huddleston Rogers had it built in 1901. Am I correct on that?
I believe I'm nervous to get it wrong. I believe buildings began around then. I think it was completed in 1904. Hopefully, no congregants tell me I'm wrong.
That's all right. And it was, no one ever saw a receipt, right? No one saw a bill. He paid for it himself, correct?
I believe that is correct. The congregation itself is actually celebrating our 200th year for what it's worth.
Wow.
So our building was created during that time, but we actually existed in the area far before that.
Oh, wow, interesting. So, but just to get back to the building, the carvings, the stonework, you have Tiffany glass for days. I mean, you have Samuel Clemens depicted in a stained glass window. You have an amazing structure that's just really stunning. And you're right. And when this is over and people can visit again, it's worth a trip over there just to see it.
Absolutely. And, I am not the building expert at all. I wish I knew more, but we do have members of our congregation who are really, really passionate about that. And so if you're ever interested, or if anyone's ever interested, please call the church. You'll get me. And you can, I can connect you with them if you have any questions, or I can send you pamphlets and more information about the building itself.
Wonderful. And there's tours too, usually in the summer, correct?
Yes, this summer is not looking like that's
Right.
going to be a thing, unfortunately, but normally we do have summer tours. And I also want to emphasize that folks are welcome to call at any time during the year if they would like to schedule one. We just have them, rolling during the summer.
Right. Now, Unitarian philosophy, Unitarian theology is a little different than some of the other Protestant churches that we've been talking with. Do you want to talk about Unitarianism, where it came from, and how it kind of lends itself to an open and affirming position?
Sure. So again, I will emphasize I'm not a total expert. I found Unitarian Universalism in 2017. So I don't want to over explain in a way that I may actually be incorrect, but I will start by saying that if you want information about Unitarian Universalism, the denominational website is uua.org. So that can give you a little bit more historical context. Essentially, it came from the Unitarians and the Universalists. We essentially believe in 7 principles or tenets of faith. They're not, we are a covenantal faith as opposed to a creed-based faith. So basically that means we don't have a specific religious deity. There are Christian UUs, there are Buddhist UUs, and there are atheist UUs, and so on. But there are 7 tenets of faith, which we call our principles, which are kind of guiding ways to live your life. And you can find those online as well. And then there are also sources where we draw our texts from. So we look at Christian texts, but we also look at poets. We also look at Buddhist texts and so on that can lend our journey, our faith journey. So I hope I'm doing it a little bit of justice, but essentially it's a group that comes together and covenants to live our lives in a certain way and to support each other as we find our own faith.
What would a service be like if I was to go to, and I did a lot of marriage equality work and went to a lot of UU churches, but what would someone feel or experience when they walked into a UU church or UU church in Fairhaven? What would be their experience for Sunday morning worship?
I mean, I hope that they start by feeling very welcomed. Generally speaking, our congregation is very friendly and very outspoken when people walk in. Our church is unique in that there are some UU churches that look pretty magnificent, but the range of UU churches is very different. So not all UU churches look like ours. It's a very Rogers building. It's very unique, as you said. Our services tend to follow a little bit of a pattern. Some parts may resemble a Protestant service, as that is where we did descend from. But I will say, I encourage people when they first come to come multiple weeks in a row. Obviously, right now we are closed due to the pandemic, but we are online as well. And I can explain more about that in a minute. But every service is going to look a little bit different because we do draw from different sources. We do, sometimes right now we're using multimedia, and we do also use that in our worship services as well. One of the best parts of the service, in my opinion, this is just me personally, is that we have a community sharing time called Joys and Sorrows, or some call it Joys and Concerns, where members of the community are invited to light a candle, or some people drop a stone into water and express a great joy or a great sorrow they've had in their life and get support from the community. Often our service is pretty interactive a lot of the time. We do have a time during the service where we generally read like a children's book, or we have a multi-generational activity and we are welcoming to all children. Normally we do have a nursery area for the littlest ones, preschool and younger, but you don't have to put your child in that. Our kids are in worship with us. We invite them to sit up front and be part of the action. Children are welcome to, we have things they can play with, and you know, we are aware that children are going to make some noise, and that's okay. I'm trying to think of other things. We do have a time of silence after our joys and sorrows, which we do hold at least a moment of silence and just meditate together, or pray, or whatever it is that you need to do at that moment. And, you know, we have readings. We most of the time have a sermon, and we're a very musical congregation as well. It is hard right now that our choir can't be together to sing, but we have a beautiful organ. We have a music director, Dwight Thomas, who's been with us 24 years now, and he does a great job with the choir. And, you know, right now we are on Zoom, doing services every Sunday at 10 a.m. People can find the link on our Facebook, and there's also a password as well. We post that every week, but the link does not change. So if you scroll through, you can find it. And I'm usually there. I do get one Sunday off a month, but you can either message me on there, or the minister if you have any questions, or anything like that during the service.
Excellent. So what's the email and what's the address that people can get in touch with you with?
Absolutely. So the email is office@uu, so 2u's, fairhaven.org. That will reach me directly. You can also message me on our Facebook page, which is @UU Fairhaven.
Okay, great. And you're located on Green Street and Church, is it?
We touch Church, but we're at 102 Green Street is the front of our building. You know, we're not going into the church right now, but when we are open, I would love to see folks.
Yeah, it's quite stunning. And the music is amazing.
Thank you very much.
Probably one of the best choirs in town or in the area. Dwight is very talented. So your personal journey, how did you come to the UU, and how did you come to an open and affirming stance? Because you do some LGBT programming in the congregation.
Yes. So I'm an LGBT person. So that's always been part of my life. For me, it wasn't taking a stance on the issue so much as finding a place that also felt that way. So I came to the congregation in 2017. I actually came at first in the summer. I am a freelance writer, and I, at the time, was just like looking for something to kind of supplement my work, and they were hiring in the nursery. And so I applied for that, and then I started there. And then they said, well, you know, we are opening an admin position if you're interested in applying. So I went through that process. And that fall, I became their administrator. And then from there, they were ready to take the step to have a membership coordinator. And so that, again, is the process of welcoming in visitors, caring for our members, and creating programming for them. And so I took that on as well, which is why you have that more complicated title now, because I do both. As far as the LGBTQ specific work that we are doing, obviously it's something that I was passionate about, so I brought that to the table. But the UUA specifically did that revamp of the Welcoming Congregations program. And so while we were welcoming and affirming before, it was something where we could take that stance to a new level and really revamp our efforts. There were several congregants that also brought this to my attention, so I don't want to say that this was like a solo act by any means, and this was really a revamp of work that was done back in 2005. So we worked on that last year, we recertified, and now it's about not only keeping it up, because we don't want to just stick this label on it and say, oh, we're welcoming now, but really widening that welcoming, and make sure we're covering different aspects of what being LGBTQ is, different members of the community, different identities, the intersectional issues that do arise. And so we're always working on that. And this year, because of COVID, I've had a lot of time to work on virtual programming. So we will be doing a lot of that for Pride as well.
Excellent. So if I were to wanted to get in touch with you, well, if I wanted to go to a service,
Mhm.
you're doing Zoom, and how would I connect with that?
You can go to our Facebook page at UU Fairhaven. That will have a link. It's posted every week, but it is the same link. So if you find one, you have the correct one. It does have a password, which is 033044, and we post it. It's a locked meeting due to Zoom settings. Anyone is welcome. It's 10 a.m. every single Sunday. If you would like to be on our newsletter to keep in touch about additional happenings, we do post some on our Facebook. We will be posting about Pride events. Probably after this, I will go and post some of the happenings that are happening next weekend. But you are welcome to message the Facebook or email office@uufairhaven.org, and I can put you on that as well.
Great. How's that working? How's the Zoom meetings, Zoom worship services going?
Really well in the engagement aspect. We have pretty solid numbers, which made me really happy just to see that people are able to get on and connect with us. It's been so nice to see faces and really feel that community, and we check in after the service as well, so we can just converse with each other and introduce ourselves if we're new. But it's been really great. I mean, we do occasionally have tech issues, but they've been minimal for the most part. So we're grateful for that. And yeah, we encourage you. And if anyone has trouble getting onto Zoom, I'm sure other churches have been using Zoom, but if anyone does have trouble, they can always call me at the church or send me an email, and I can assist as best as I can.
Great. Well, this is for Pride. Do you have a message for the LGBT community in the South Coast from the New Church in Fairhaven?
I'm sorry that things aren't happening in person this year and that things are going on, but we love you and we're here, and we hope you'll join us for some programming. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, that's great. So happy Pride to you.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun June. There's a lot of programming going on and a lot of different things happening. And we thought this would be an important aspect to round it out. So I want to thank you for the Unitarian Society of Fairhaven, Unitarian Universalists, and encourage people to, importantly, attend the congregation for worship, but also to check out the building because it's just a gem in the area. But thank you so much. I want to extend my gratitude to you and your congregation.
Thank you for having us.
So great. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.